Howdy everyone, Andy here from Team Completed It. Just wanted to give a big shout out to our supporters and sponsors over at My Hero UK. My Hero UK is a one-stop shop app for all your comic book needs. Buy, sell, trade, amazing service over at My Hero UK. Head on over to your app store, type in My Hero UK, download the app, and the boys will take care of the rest. If you want to check them out, go to www.myherouk.co.uk. Thanks for the support, boys, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Completed It. Yes, we haven't forgot you. I've just been very, very busy. Case of the old tonsillitis as well, and I become international fan of the year over with my NFL stuff. Been crazy, super, super busy. Really sorry we haven't put a show out in 2 weeks. That is all on me, not on Neil, not on Sash. I have just been very, very busy, but we are back now. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and one of my co-hosts is here, the guru himself. Neil, how are you, brother? Good to see you again after a couple of
I'm
weeks
doing
off.
good, sir. Doing good. And yourself?
I'm good, man. I've still got a little bit of tonsillitis. I've been doing some podcasting, I've been on the news for all the right reasons. Just my friend said it to my friend the other day. He went, "You weren't in the Epstein files, were you?" I went, "Fuck off." Yeah, I've been doing some good stuff with the NFL, but yeah, then I got tonsillitis to boot, but that's slowly going. Sash, don't know where he is. I'm not gonna lie, we can't get hold of him. He might be in bed. He might be out saving the universe. I don't know what he's doing. But we are back, Neil, to talk all things iconic movies and the role that they have played in society. And we're also going to touch on modern day comedy compared to what you and I grew up with.
Yes.
Neil, sitting down doing some research for this show, you look back and you go, we'll go back as far as the late 70s for us,
Mhm.
then all of the 80s, most of the 90s, and then it kind of the early 2000s. I'm not
Kind of
it,
tapered off.
it started. The common theme throughout this is going to be as we get closer to the internet. This title should be the title of this show could be. You go
Mhm.
back to 77. We'll start there. You got iconic movies like Rocky. You got Star Wars. You fast forward to 1981. You've got Indiana Jones. You delve into the middle of the 80s, you've got Back to the Future, you've got Beverly Hills Cop. The late 80s, you've got films like Bill and Ted.
Mhm.
Big with Tom Hanks come out in 88. What role do you, and for you, Neil, what role do you
Mhm.
think these iconic movies played in film? And what role do you see them playing now? Because we sometimes skirt over of filmmaking then and now. And like you say, you've studied it, you've got a degree and all this stuff. Film
Mhm.
to you is everything. And like I've always said, I enjoy listening to you guys break down what you know as film because I was rewatching the Beverly Hills Cop films the other day. I
Mhm.
love them. The original three. I don't like the new one on Netflix. I'm really sorry. I couldn't get into it. For
Haven't seen
me,
it yet.
the soundtrack was good. It was
Mhm.
80s, but for me, their faces could barely move because they had so much work done, and it just wasn't Beverly Hills Cop.
Mhm.
What role do you think that these films have played in filmmaking and society? I just reeled off some absolute
Mhm.
classics there. The
Uh,
Goonies, Ghostbusters. I
yeah.
didn't even add them in. I mean, we sit down weekly now and talk about different films and
Mhm.
genres and all the reviews. When you look back now, we sit here in 2026. I've got a 13-year-old daughter and a 22-year-old daughter.
Mhm.
My 13-year-old didn't get 10 minutes into Back to the Future, and she went, "Nope, not for me." Can't do it. So, back on her tablet playing
Mhm.
Roblox, and I'm like, this. Like, I remember watching it with I think I was around my friend's house, and his dad put it on. I
Mhm.
was maybe 9 years old, so 1989. He's like, "Do you want to watch Back to the Future?" Out come the VHS cassette, put it in. I was
Mhm.
like, "This is incredible." Nowadays, I can't get her to watch any of this. Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, Star Wars. The we were talking off air. The
Mhm.
passing down of movie genre
Yeah.
does not seem to be a thing, Neil, anymore, and it really
Mhm.
pisses me off. What says you, my friend?
See, it doesn't piss me off, but it does break my heart.
Mm,
And but how it is, how I see it, because it's funny, because those films that you just mentioned, literally Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, right?
mm.
I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent.
Go.
So
You saved my voice. Please do it.
my niece is going to be 9 years old this year. No, I lie. My niece is going to be 10 years old this year. My nephew is going to be 12 years old this year. And last year, last summer, I gave them a challenge. I said, you guys need to live for a week, 7 days in 1995. And they were
Oh,
like,
sheesh.
how are we going to do that? So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to set things up for you. And I was like, the main things were you've got, there's no streaming at all, completely gone. No
Hmm.
streaming. And I said, when I say no streaming, that's everything. That's no Netflix, no Disney Plus, no BBC iPlayer. You have access to four TV channels.
Yep.
You got BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, and Channel 4. That's all you have. However, I said, I will give you 10 movies. You will have 10 movies, 10 DVDs that I will pan to you that you can watch. You can watch these 10 movies as many times as you want. And it was like, okay. I gave him Ghostbusters. I gave him the Back to the Future trilogy,
Oh, yes.
The Witches, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
No, no.
What else did I give him? I gave him Indiana Jones
Oh,
films, Aladdin,
oh, the original.
Beauty and the Beast. I think I gave him some other things. I think there was those were the films
Basically
I
gave him
gave
some
him.
all-time classics.
Yeah, I gave even things
Mm.
like Romancing the Stone and
Ah,
the Nile. And my sister then added, what did she add? She added a couple films, like she added Flight of the Navigator and a couple of other films for
oh,
them.
dude.
And also, my nephew has a Nintendo Switch, took that away,
See you
and
later.
gave him the SNES Mini Classic.
Oh,
I said, you can play the SNES Mini Classic. And he was like, okay, cool. So he got these things. They lasted, firstly, I commend them. They lasted all 7 days, right?
well
However, midweek,
done.
I got a phone call asking if they could quit. And I said, look, there's a prize at the end of it, but if you quit, there's no prize. So you got to pick your poison. They kept going and they made it to the end. You know the thing that happened? Because remember, when I said there was no streaming, there was
Hmm.
also no access to like YouTube
Yep.
or like the internet in this, like how the internet is today. Like
Yeah.
none of that. I was gone. My sister said their levels of concentration and their levels of patience increased
Hmm.
over this 7 days
Yeah.
because when it comes to things like Netflix, and this whole story will tie into everything that we're going to be discussing.
Hmm.
With the things like Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, you name it, they have the entire library of everything that came before they were born, now that they're born, and everything that's going to come after
Hmm.
at their fingertips. 10 minutes in, if they don't like it, they can turn it off. It will take four buttons, four taps of a button will turn a film off, pick another film, put that film on.
Yep.
Less than 10 strokes, they could be from one film to a completely different film.
Hmm.
Whereas as children, when we were children, it's you gotta take the VHS tape or take the DVD player, take the disc or the VHS out the machine. You then have to get a new one. You then have to put the new one in. If
Oh,
it's
yes.
VHS, God in heaven, please be rewound.
Oh my God, that was one
Right?
of the most annoying things ever. Go to
I'm telling you
Blockbusters and the
right now.
person that had it before you didn't rewind it.
Yep. I'm telling you right here and now, for those who were born post VHS, if you were born in the DVD era
You
or you're born
lucky
now in the streaming
bastards.
era, you have no idea
Mm,
what it's like to put a videotape in a machine and
yeah.
see the end credits rolling, stop it, push rewind. When you
And
push
wait.
rewind is longer than an advert.
Yeah, oh
You
yes.
push rewind, you have enough time to go. And when I say to you, right, there were times when I put in a VHS tape and I was like, crap, this thing wasn't rewound. I had enough time to go rewind it, go in the kitchen, make a drink, get some
Yeah.
biscuits or something,
Yeah.
come back, and it still wasn't done.
Yeah. Oh, them days, man.
Right? That level of you're gonna have to wait for everything means, you know what? I can give it 25 minutes. I can give it half an hour.
Mm,
Hell, I will watch it from start to finish because all of this effort to get to the next one,
hmm
it's not worth it. I might as well just sit here and enjoy this. But also, there is the thing of handing things down. I think people don't understand why Star Wars has lived as long as it has, is
hmm
because the people who were who saw the Star Wars, the original three Star Wars films, the people who saw them when they were between the ages of like, let's say 10 and 20, when the prequels came out, they had children who were their age.
Yeah.
They had children who were the ages they were when they went to see it. So they went with them to
hmm
see it.
Yep.
And then now, regardless of what people think of him, now you've got people who were between 20 and 20 at the prequels,
hmm
then moving on and taking their kids to see, the sequel trilogy and now everything that comes beyond it.
Yep.
But what people don't get, rounding this all the way back to what you asked me about the impact of like actual really classic and iconic films, everyone knows the theme song to Jaws,
hmm I nearly done it then.
right? Everyone knows the theme song to Jaws. You don't ever have to have seen Jaws
No.
to know that those keys, those dun dun,
Yeah.
you know what that means. You've seen it in, you could see it in anything. You could see it in a cartoon. You could see it
Yeah.
in another film that's totally nothing to do with sharks or nothing to do with being in water. You could just see it. Anyone who sees a fin coming out the water just knows what that means.
Yeah.
That is because Jaws changed what is considered to be the zeitgeist, as we say. Jaws changed the world. Jaws mania changed the world. It became such a thing those two notes, instantaneously, you know what that means,
And it's been used in films
right?
all over the
Yeah.
genres of
But
things.
also, we talk about things being handed down. The last uh traditional King Kong movie was
hmm
Peter Jackson's King Kong movie, which came out, I think it might have been between 2003 and 2005, I think. Right? I could be wrong on the dates. But in 1993, when Jurassic Park came out, Jeff Goldblum, when he says, "Oh, when you see those massive doors," and Jeff Goldblum says, "What do you got in there? King Kong?"
Mm.
That is a reference to
Yeah.
the massive doors in the black and white King Kong movie,
Yeah.
right? And these are references that get handed down. All of these things get handed down. Cultural moments get handed down. You know, you think of how many different versions of Superman there are. TV show, film, cartoons, video games, whatever.
Mm.
John Williams' theme song
Is there, yeah, throughout it.
is, you hear that theme song, you think of Superman, no matter what,
Yeah.
right? Just the idea of, the ripping the shirt open and there's the S underneath it. These are things that get handed down from iconic movies, right? Because they sit with you. I think now we don't have that. Nothing really
Yeah.
sits with you.
I
Now
couldn't
maybe.
even name you an iconic.
Mhm.
There's movies. I don't
Right?
think I
Yeah.
could in the last, well, say since before COVID,
Mhm.
I can't sit here and go, that's iconic. There's been great movies,
Yeah. Do you
really
know
great
what?
movies.
Yeah, there are.
Iconic. Mm,
Yeah, because when you think of something that's iconic, you think this thing happened, and they were so amazed, enamored by it, that they were like, I don't know if we can remake this.
Is that because we had to wait back then? If you think now, right,
Mhm.
we hear, and I know they've done it a little bit in the 80s, but now the waiting process, you think between like Back to the Future 2,
Mhm.
Star Wars, and Star Wars New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back, etc.
Yeah.
The original Superman, I know they made some of them together, but it's all instantaneous now.
Yeah.
Everything is like, back then. when a movie come out, I remember when I was a kid, you watched Back to the
Mhm.
Future 1 in 85, and then you had to wait how many years till the second one?
Then the second one was
4 years? 3 years?
no,
2 years?
no. I think it was like
87?
2 years.
87?
Yeah, I think I'm going to
Whereas,
double check
yeah,
right at this moment in time,
but whereas
but
now
it
though,
was
they're, everything's instantaneous, and it's just like, I just think back then, movies were, I think they were appreciated more.
okay.
Uh,
So I was incorrect, right? Back to the Future 1 is 1985.
yeah,
Back to the Future 2 is 1989.
89. Yeah, I thought it was 89. So yeah, you
Yeah,
think,
so 4 years.
so you got this great iconic thing, and then you had to wait 4 years. There's no it nowadays that if Back to the Future is released now, so say Back to the Future comes out on
Mhm.
Monday this week, it's lauded up for God knows how many months in the cinema. And then all of a sudden, we'll use Disney Plus as an example. They'll go, we're going to give you the in between bits of that movie. So between Back to the Future 1 and Back to the Future 2
Mhm.
is a TV series.
Yep.
That's what would happen now.
Funny
But
thing
back,
is this.
you know,
Yeah,
they made the Back to the
I'm
Future
gonna
cartoon, but
tell you something that's funny. We had this discussion in the group chat
mhm.
where I threw out a list of films that if made today, if they didn't exist and they were made for the first time today, these iconic films wouldn't go into the cinema.
Oh, they will be
Back to the
straight to
Future.
yeah, Netflix.
I
Yeah.
said Back to the Future would be a Netflix movie. It would be a Netflix trilogy,
Yep.
right? We would have Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. They would be Netflix movies. They would not go into the cinema. I said something like Alien. Alien would probably be like your, I mean, in honesty, it'd probably be either like Amazon Prime or a Shutter,
Yeah.
right?
But then, like we say all the
Blade
time on
Runner.
here, Sky
Hmm.
Store kills this. I've
Hmm.
said this countless times already. I was on my TV this morning while I was just
Yeah.
waiting for the wife to get ready. We had to go and collect my daughter. Let me see what's on Sky Store.
Mhm.
Movies that come out 2 weeks ago already on there.
Yep.
And I'm like, and I know we get into this in our group chat, and people probably will be watching this, and they'll jump in the group chat. And I know you've had strong views in it, and this is why
Mhm.
cinema could potentially die. I don't think it
Yeah.
will, but
No, super.
right now, mum and dad
Mhm.
can be like, I can pay £10 to watch this movie on the
Mhm.
telly, or I can pay £20 a ticket and we all go cinema to watch it.
Yeah.
It's a no
Yeah.
brainer.
Yeah. Because you know what it is? It's, I think people forget, or people not, they don't forget. They don't know. I
Mm.
think people don't know, they don't realize that going to the cinema was an event. Going to the cinema has always been an event.
Yeah.
You know, there is this whole thing that a couple of years ago, the great Martin Scorsese, he said he couldn't really get into like the Marvel films. And
Hmm.
he said to him, they were like theme park rides,
Yeah.
or they were like theme park attractions. And a large number of, comic book fans and that took a lot of offense to it. And at first, I took offense to it because I was like, you, a man of your stature, a man of the films you made, shouldn't be getting so offended, or you
Hmm.
shouldn't be downgrading these movies because you can't get into them. But then I realized something. He's not wrong. These Marvel films are like theme park attractions.
Mm.
But all films are like theme park attractions because that's why they say when films used to come out in the cinema all the time, at the start of the trailers, they would say previews of coming attractions
Yeah.
because films are attractions. Motion pictures, films are they are theme park rides. The first, literally, the whole, you've got things like I can't remember. I think it's not the Lumiere brothers, but you've got like the people who first kind of really created this idea of
Hmm.
filming something, a moving image.
Yeah.
One of the first things they made was a train. They just filmed a train on the tracks coming towards the camera.
Yeah.
And when the first time that they did that, people literally in the audience got up and like were running out of the screen
Yeah.
at this little tent because they were like,
The train's coming.
the train's coming, the train's gonna hit me. Like they was
Yeah.
running out of the audience because
Mm.
it was an attraction. But attractions, the point is these films were an event, right? There's a
Hmm.
reason Titanic was in the cinemas for a year straight,
Mm.
right? You think Titanic was in the cinema for a year? I think Jurassic Park was in there for like 9 months. Right? You've got films that are events, and yes. there was a different time because it wasn't going to be on your these films were going to come out and they weren't going to be available for you to watch at home in your own convenience
No.
for like 3 to 6 to 9 months.
And even then, you had to get it on VHS. It's not like they were on your TV screen. You had to
Yeah, you
physically
had to
go and
wait,
rent
and
these out.
that's it. It was, you know what it was? It was you earned. It's going to sound horrible. You earned the right to watch these films
Yeah.
because you had to leave your home to go to the cinema, and then you had to leave your home to go to the shop to buy them or to rent them. You
Rent a
had
movie. Yeah.
to physically go and do something. You had to, it's a rite of passage getting to watch these films.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can tap a couple of buttons
Dude.
and this film is going to be on your screen or it's going to be delivered to your home if you still deal with physical media.
Mm.
It You were in this position where everything is so accessible to you quickly. You know, it's I think there is a there's a TV show, I think it's How I Met Your Mother, where somebody in there says like the worst time to make decisions is between 1 o'clock and 3 a.m. or something like that.
Mm.
That thing is, you think of how many things you bought that you didn't need between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m.
Yeah.
because you woke up and you thought, yeah, let me, why not? You're not earning the right to do these things.
No. You remember the old-fashioned saying of "go to your room"? Now you don't say that
Yeah,
to your kid because you send them to their room. They're loving
everything
life.
is there.
Everything's
You
there.
say
You know.
you telling someone go to your room is like going to HMV.
Do you remember back in the day when you were like you were sick and you had to have a day off school? You're like, oh my God, I am bored shitless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays,
Listen,
my daughter sta-
daytime TV
my
was.
oh dude, my daughter stays home now from school,
Mhm.
loving life.
Yeah.
Absolutely loving life. Yeah, she's ill, but she's got everything. A tablet, she's got Netflix, she's got apps, or she's got these Roblox, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Me and you just like, I got 4 channels. I got to watch Sally, Jesse, Raphael in the morning.
Oh, Ricky
Maybe
Lake.
Ricky Lake. Then if you're lucky, I watch Neighbours and Home and Away at 1:30. Then the Gold Rush on BBC, and that was me till the kids' TV come on at like
Yeah.
4:45. That was it. We didn't have none of
And
that.
that, but
Now,
even that, again, earning it. It's about
yeah.
earning it, right? You think when you finish school, depending on the distance between your school and your home, there was some stuff you might miss,
I had to run to get home for Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, bro. I
right?
mean, run.
You know what I'm saying is I remember I will never forget the day my mum got cable installed in the house.
Oh,
And
I
all
can
I
remember.
know is I came home, my mum picked me up from school, brought me home, came through the door, saw this weird little black box just sitting there, turned on the TV, and got the end credits of Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
I almost fainted.
yeah,
I almost just
yeah,
done, right?
yeah.
And then it was like Saturday morning TV. You're waking up at 6 a.m. and then at 7 a.m. you've got like the Fun Factory, or you've got Live and Kicking, or you've got,
Going live.
you know, Big
Big
Breakfast,
breakfast, man. Do you
right?
remember that before you went to school in the morning with the
Yeah,
zig and zag?
all of these things, you earned the
Yeah.
right
I
to
remember
have
watching
these things.
Wacky Racers and Roll and Rat on ITV.
Yeah, Wacky Races, and it
That's
was
still
like,
today. That's
you
another
know,
one of the
Dastardly
greatest.
and Muttley,
Ah, dude,
right? Penelope
iconic.
Pitstop, Captain
Yeah,
Caveman, Hong
they
Kong
bet that
Phooey.
they're making a movie out of that, and they better not fuck it up.
Listen, I'm gonna make you laugh, right? Just because it could slightly getting off track, but I'm gonna make you laugh. I bought the entire show of the Jetsons and the
Oh,
Flintstones,
yes.
and I did not know that the theme song for the Flintstones,
Meet the
yeah,
Flintstones. Da,
that
da, 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 da.
wasn't the original theme song. I learned that. I put it on, and like the first episode played, and it didn't have that, and I just thought, oh, okay, maybe they
Yeah.
first episode they ironed it out, and then they got like 5 episodes in, and they were like, oh,
Mm.
here's the song, it's ready now. No, they got to like season 3 before they kicked in that song.
Wow.
Yeah, but the point was we earned these shows and Tom and Jerry's, and all. We earned it. And watching these movies, it was a cultural moment to watch Back to the Future, to watch Ghostbusters, to watch
Indiana
even
Jones.
even going later than that. You know, when I think of the actual cultural moments of like Everybody is watching this. You've got
Mm,
things like The Matrix. You've got things like even like Armageddon,
yeah.
right? These movies, and but when I say that what we don't have right now is everything is so quick and instantaneous,
Mm,
think of it like this. When I say the film Armageddon, I would say maybe one of two things comes to your mind. Either the film, or maybe a specific moment from the film, or Aerosmith don't want to miss a thing.
bit of both, really. I love them
Bit of
both.
both.
Yeah.
If I say Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves,
Oh, their theme tune was their song was number one. It's the
what was it?
longest running
Brian
number one.
Adams,
Brian Adams, the longest
right?
number one until Wet, Wet, Wet released Love Is All Around You.
Right. Love is all around you. Was
There
that
you
Three
go.
Things in the Funeral?
Yeah, it was.
Right. We had films that came out, and this is like whether I think it's just a millennial thing because I think like the generation before us was the baby boomers, right? I think the
Yeah.
baby boomers, right, didn't really have this because you know the idea of films being this monumental moment and it covers all aspects of everything
Mm,
didn't really come into play. Like they had things, obviously they had things like the Ten Commandments and Ben-Hur and Gone with the
hmm.
Wind and movies like that. But we had that. We were at that time where they made a film so good that the soundtrack
Yeah.
was became monumental, right?
Yeah.
Like Highlander is not a very highly remembered film, but they got Queen to do that soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then they did Flash Gordon and they got Queen to do the soundtrack.
You
And
look
they
at the James Bond
Batman.
movies. Look who's done James Bond for,
Yeah.
songs over the years.
Well, that's it. Like we did Batman, right? We had
Dame
Prince. They
Shirley.
did it. Dame Shirley Bassey,
Yeah.
Tina Turner, the Guns N' Roses, no Guns N' Roses, the Beatles,
Mm,
Madonna,
mm.
Sheryl Crow.
But that's the problem nowadays. You look at modern day, what we'll call, and I'll use this term loosely, artists.
Yeah.
They'd be rather associated with YouTubers and streamers and stuff like that. And that's the
Well, do you
world.
know what?
That's where
I
we
don't
are
blame
now in
that.
that world now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm not gonna blame these artists because I will say that that's more of an industry thing, and it's more about making as much money as you can
I think with
and
movies though, gone of the
having the
days of
indie.
movies, gone of the days of approaching big artists to say, do me a movie soundtrack. Nowadays, you'd be like, do me an intro for YouTube.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. James Bond still tried to maintain that because they had things like they had Sam Smith and then they
Yeah.
had Adele.
Mm.
Uh, um, they had Alicia Keys and Jack White. It was things like that. But outside of that, like what movie, that think about it, there was a time in our generation of films when we're talking about iconic films, there was a moment in time where they made a film, they got the actors from the film to go and be in the music video for the song,
God,
right?
yeah, I
They were
remember.
like,
Yeah.
this is the lead song from the soundtrack. We
Yeah.
need you in it,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, I mean, this is not an iconic film in any way, shape, or form, but I remember the Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme came out. And I
Hmm.
remember Jean-Claude Van Damme and most of the cast for Street Fighter are in the music video, the lead music video. They're in it,
Yeah.
you know? And I think of things like, you think of the film Space Jam. Again, Space Jam is not the it's a cult movie. A lot of people love it, right? But I think of it like this. That movie, the soundtrack to that movie is one of my top 10 soundtracks of all time.
Yeah. I can see why.
The movie is not. The movie is not a top 10.
Oh
Wow,
no, no, no,
amazing,
no.
right? It's very 90s and it fits perfectly for what it is.
Yeah, for when it was.
Same time, it be, the movie becomes a moment because the soundtrack is so good.
Mm.
And you've got things like we thought, oh, we brought up, outside of Disney films, outside of Disney films right now, because you've got like Frozen and Let It Go. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
But everyone just remembers Let It Go.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that one song.
I can name you the Jungle Book where I name every single song in
Yeah,
that movie.
that's what I'm saying, right? You've got Jungle Book, and you've got things like Bare Necessities. You've got the one that King Louis does.
Yeah,
right?
I'm the king of the swingers,
Yeah,
oh, the jungle. I'm singing with tonsillitis, by the way.
yeah. You think you've got that, and then you think, The Lion King, and you've
Yeah,
got Hakuna Matata, and you've got
yeah,
I Just Can't Wait to Be King, and then you've got The Circle of Life, and
yeah.
then you think of, you know, okay, I think Aladdin only really has you've got Prince Ali, and you've got Friend Like Me, and then
Yeah,
you think of Beauty and the Beast, right? And you've got the song Beauty and the Beast,
yeah.
right? And then you've got the song at the beginning where I was like, but the song It's Belle, right? That is a staple of Disney that everyone knows and remembers, and they're like, yep, I'm cool with that. That used to be a staple of films outside of Disney. They made a movie, they made a song, or they made an entire soundtrack. The lead song was just as important
Hmm.
as the movie. It became a moment in time where even when you weren't going to the cinema to see this movie, you knew about this movie because you're on your drive to work and the radio, they're playing the new song by Bryan Adams
Yeah.
or the new song by Aerosmith or the new song, think Ghostbusters. They made a whole song for Ghostbusters, right?
Hmm. I
The
remember having the
Ghostbusters,
album. I remember having the
yeah,
VHS cassette, the
right?
Ghostbusters songs on it.
Yeah, and you've got like everybody knows. Okay, yeah, we know the Ghostbusters theme.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got Saving the Day, and you've got On Our Own, which I think is from Ghostbusters 2, the Bobby
Hmm.
Brown song, right?
Yep.
And you've got you know all of these things, and it was like the song were made for the film. Because I remember in the Bobby Brown song, he is talking about things that happened in the film.
Yeah.
So not only were you like, I'm loving this song. The song is in the film.
Yeah.
He's talking about something that happens in the film. So now I need to go and see the film to
Yeah.
understand what he's talking about.
Them days are, I mean, on my Spotify, I have it
Mm,
on. I usually have it on shuffle, but it come
yeah,
on. I've got a few movie ones on there. One of my most
yeah.
favorite movie downloads on my Spotify, the first two House Party movies.
Oh,
You go and listen to them soundtracks. But we need to do some shows on them much sooner or later because
yeah.
they are the three of my favorite films of all time. And even the what we're, I think, well, we can class it as a prequel. Class Act was
Yep.
before House Party with Kid and Play.
Hmm.
That subsequently, if you looked at it now, that kind of was a prequel to House Party.
Hmm.
But now and then when they made House Party 4 and they tried to make that shit that come out 2 years ago and it
Oh,
just
the
wasn't done.
remake, which I
Yeah, yeah.
kind of
House
refuse
Party
to
4 was
watch.
just terrible. I watched it, I turned it off after 20 minutes. But yeah, look, the way that modern filming is, look, we sit here as we do this weekly and we love our movies, we love our TV shows, but in my opinion, we're probably the last generation before the
Mhm.
internet. And so we can sit here and talk about this with some
Yeah.
substance, with some that kind of segues me to we got about 10 minutes left. Kind of, I
Mhm.
mentioned at the start there, Neil, that I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
We talk about the olden days.
Oh, the comedies.
I was scrolling through TikTok the other day, funny enough, and this TikToker come on, Neil,
Hmm.
and it said it started off. I scrolled up, and the headline read, "Only fools and horses,
Hmm.
racist, and could not be shown today." I was like, I got to see this, so I watched the whole lot, and there was just this dude telling me why Only Fools and Horses could not be on our terrestrial TV today. So it leads me to kind of to my question, and me and you can have a quick 10-minute back and
Hmm.
forward on this. I think everyone nowadays,
Yes.
and we'll say this for film, but we'll use this for comedy on TV specifically
Hmm.
because that's what we're about to talk about.
Hmm.
People are scared to make comedies for what comedy is meant to be. I've seen this on TikTok the other day. Jimmy Carr was doing a joke.
Hmm.
Someone shouted out from the audience, "You can't say that joke." And Jimmy Carr was like, "You're at a fucking comedy show." And there's another comedian. What's his name? Who's the black guy that always wipes his face with a towel? Really
Um.
funny, really funny. He kicked a woman out of his show. The American guy.
Oh.
He was like, "You're at a comedy show, woman. Do not tell
Always
me."
wipes his
I
face.
can't remember his name now. Forgive me for forgetting. I'm sure someone will tell us in the
Mm.
comments. But he booted this woman out. She's like, "You can't say that." He's like,
Mhm.
"This," and he went on to this like he cut the show, and he's like, "This is what's wrong with the modern day world.
Mhm.
You're at a comedy show." So when I saw this about the Only Fools and Horses, let me see what this guy's got to say because everyone
Mhm.
that knows me, Only Fools and Horses is my favorite of all time.
Right.
No one's beating it. No one's coming close to it. I can name you every single word from every single. And my wife doesn't let me watch it in the house anymore because I say the words before they come on, etc., etc. And this guy was basically telling me why Only Fools and Horses could not be on now. So while we got about 5-10
Right.
minutes left, Neil,
Well.
let's have a little back and forth here because, like I said a minute ago, me and you are probably of the last generation before the internet.
Yeah.
Before me and you started recording, we talked of things like the show Desmond's,
Yes.
one of the greatest comedies of all time, wouldn't
Hmm.
be allowed to be shown now. Only Fools and Horses. There was a thing called Love
Upstairs,
Thy Neighbor,
downstairs, love thy
upstairs, downstairs.
neighbor.
And bearing in mind, before people start on me, this is a white dude and a black guy talking about this because the world we live in now, and from all the
Yep.
comments, I watch YouTubers
Hmm.
and they're like, "You can't say that. That's
But
racist."
you know what? Do
And
you
you're
know what the
like,
thing
"What?"
is?
Maybe
I'll
I'm
tell you
just
what it is.
old. I don't
It's
know. I think I'm old.
Do you know what it is? Well, yes, we are old, right?
Mm,
But I'm gonna tell you, right? This is a problem that has only come since social media became a thing. And the
yeah.
reason why, in my personal opinion, the reason why this has happened is because social media allows people to let their immediate and most intrusive thoughts win.
Mm,
Like you think again, say now, let's say hypothetically, now, as I mentioned to you before, right? I didn't watch Only Fools and Horses growing up, right? But I knew it was a big deal. I knew that almost everyone I knew was watching it. I just wasn't interested. But what I will say about that is this is imagine in the 90s,
hmm.
right? I'm going to specifically pick the 90s. Imagine in the 90s, you saw something you didn't like on film. Let's say Only Fools and Horses, let's say it's a Friday night, you've
Hmm.
watched Only Fools and Horses, you've seen one thing that you didn't really like, or maybe there was a racist comment or a comment now considered today to be racist or something, right?
Yep.
It comes up Friday.
Yep.
You now have to wait Saturday, Sunday, and then go back to school on Monday to then talk to people about it and be like, I saw this, I didn't really like it,
Mm. Now you just jump on Twitter.
right? But in that time, those 2.5 days between you watching something Friday night and then seeing your friends on Monday morning and
Hmm.
talking about it, you now have seen it. You've been able to think about it. You've been able to digest it. And you've been able to say, you know what? It's not really that important. It's not really that. Oh, like, okay, I didn't like it, but is it really worth me raging about it well, not on the internet, but raging about it in
Yeah,
person,
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
right?
Yeah.
They're like, no, because it's a throwaway line in a TV show that's what, half an hour to 45 minutes long.
Yeah, when it was originally, so when it was originally out in the early 80s, it was
Yeah.
like 30 minutes,
Okay,
25
so
minutes. Some of them were like
yeah,
25 minutes long.
so you've got one line in a roughly 30-minute show. So that's one line is probably 10 seconds. So you've got 10 seconds out of a show that's 30 minutes long
Mm,
that you didn't like. That was a throwaway joke that didn't matter. And now it means nothing in comparison to the rest of the show, in comparison to the rest of the episode.
yeah.
You're then gonna go and find people to moan about it with, right?
Mm,
Like, and I think, all right, so I grew up watching Eddie Murphy Raw and
yeah.
Delirious. I grew up with comedians like I say, Eddie Murphy, and I also grew up with the comedians before them, people like George Carlin, people like Richard Pryor. I grew up with comedy like that, where comedy is you holding up a mirror to society and saying, this is weird, but the best thing we can do is laugh about it.
Make it funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if we don't laugh about it, we're gonna riot.
Yeah.
We're either gonna cry or we're gonna go into a riot. So let's just laugh about it because
And that's how it should
you
be.
know,
You look at
and
some
that
of the best comedians right now. Who's the
yeah,
what's his name? Kane, the black guy.
Kevin
Is it?
Hart,
No, no,
Dave
no. I
Chappelle.
think his name's Kane. Him and he does a TikTok channel with his mate, and the black guy. You only see the white glove.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know you,
I
Christopher.
promise
Yeah.
you that is some of the funniest things
Hmm.
I've ever seen. And I sit and they do countless white jokes
Yeah,
and they do countless black jokes. And I'd cry with
because you know what it
laughter.
is.
But then you go in
Because
the comments and some
yeah,
people are like, you can't say that. I'm like, this guy is genuinely funny. Like he made a white joke that is hilarious. And I'm here with tears streaming down my face.
mhm.
And you go into the comments, you can't say that. And it's the same for film now. It's the same
You
for
know what the
TV.
yeah, because you know what the funny thing about that is that you just brought up. Watching now, you figured out this, right? Eddie Murphy Raw. There's a joke, specific joke in Eddie Murphy Raw. The joke is about having homemade McDonald's,
Hmm.
right? You know the joke, right?
Hmm.
It's, oh, I want McDonald's. We got McDonald's at home, right? And it's two pieces. He said it was two pieces of Wonder Bread with with the big fat like rolled hand rolled beef patty with a slob of ketchup in it, slammed between two pieces of regular bread, right? And then you're having it, and it's like because it's not a bun, it's just dough. The dough with the oil from the burger with the ketchup mixed together turns the bread into pink dough, right? That's funny,
Yeah.
but it highlights in its comedy, in its simplicity of comedy. What does that highlight? It talks about it talks about being economically frugal because I'm not going to spend money on something I can make at home.
Mm.
It talks about parents that the blindness that parents have to the social hierarchy that their kids are living in,
Yeah.
with the thing of we got a hamburger from McDonald's because we got a Happy Meal versus you having this homemade burger in your hand.
Mm.
And all of it, it's just that simple joke breaks down, like I said, it breaks down economic frugality. It breaks down, you know, parents being blind to the social hierarchy of children.
Yeah.
But it's just funny.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be black to understand that joke. You
Nope.
don't have to be white
Nope.
to understand the joke. That joke
Just
is
a
just a
funny joke.
funny joke,
Just a
right?
funny joke.
But at the same time, Eddie Murphy made jokes in there about Italians. He
Yeah.
made jokes in there about gay people. He
Yeah.
made jokes in there about black people. He was like, oh, he made a joke about Mick Jagger having big lips, right? And he was like, oh, Mick Jagger's lips are so big that black people are, and he got some big ass lips, right? And it's like, why? Because when you look at it, if you put 100 black people together and 100 white people back together, right? And you just measured the size of their lips, you're like, man, these they got some big lips, right? They got some big lips. It's black people have
Yeah.
generally larger lips than
Yeah.
white
But the
people.
fact that me and you can even just sit here and do that and laugh about it, I guarantee
Yeah,
you there'll be
right.
one person or more than one person in the world that would comment and go, "You can't do that." And that's
Yeah.
what that's the whole point of this little segment is. John Noakes, who does the podcast with us sometimes,
Yes.
he watched the new Naked Gun, so I went
Mhm.
and watched it. It was terrible because they tried too hard to be Naked Gun without
Without.
being what we know Naked Gun is.
Mhm.
Because do you know why? It seemed I watched that movie and the whole theme for that movie, and we're not going to get into it now because we're
Yeah,
nearly
yeah,
out of
of course.
time. They were scared. They were scared of who they would
Well, that's the
offend.
thing.
But you
Comedy.
think to Naked
Mhm.
Gun, the original Naked Guns was some of the best comedy things ever, and they joked about
Yeah.
everything. It was religion, it was the way people looked, it was absolutely everything. But
Yeah.
this Naked Gun that I watched with Liam Neeson,
Mhm.
they were terrified.
But
They were
look,
trying
you
to
look
make
at it like
jokes
this,
without
right?
actually making jokes.
Think of it like this. This year, right? Because you think I love old spoof movies, things like
Hmm.
Blazing Saddles,
Yeah.
Spaceballs, you got movies like that. And then you think to yourself, well, now we're gonna get Scary Movie 6. Already, just from the trailer, there is a joke where it was, when they're parodying Sinners, and it's like someone is
Hmm.
about to come into the party. Oh, we are gonna do some half gay shit. And then he opens the door and he's like, why half gay?
Yeah.
Now, I am absolutely sure that line, that sentence is going to offend some people.
Yeah.
Why? And I'm like, the people who are going to get offended by that have not seen Scary Movie 1 or 2.
No, I
I was
did
like,
one.
if you've seen Scary Movie 1 and or 2,
Yeah.
that
Mm.
joke
We'll hit.
is going to do nothing but make you laugh.
Yeah, it will. It will. We lived in different times, Neil. We lived in different
Yeah,
times. But it's been good to be back talking movies. A bit of a different show
indeed.
for us today. We thought we'd try and I wanted to do something like this for a while now, so it was really
Mhm.
good. Hopefully myself, Neil, and Sash will be back next week if we can find Sash. Have you heard from Is he alive? I don't know. No, I don't actually know
He's
where he
probably on
is.
a mission trying to save the world.
Yeah, he is that dude. He was in. He put something in our group chat the other day. He was in a. He done a movie.
Yes, yes, he did.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
he's probably been busy. He's actually made a movie. So congratulations, Sash. Don't worry about it. Me and Neil didn't want to come to the premiere with you. It's fine. We didn't want to go. We found out in the group chat like everyone else. No, I'm only joking. Well done to Sash. Anyone wants to check us out at Completed It Pod on X, go onto YouTube. Really big thanks for the love that everyone's showing us. The views are absolutely tremendous. Couldn't thank everyone enough. Just type in
Mhm.
Completed It Podcast. The little logo there behind me will pop up, but we'll be back later next week to talk more movies, film, and TV. And we've got some guests lined up for the coming weeks and months, which I am working on as we speak. Neil, thanks for doing most of talking this episode. I really do appreciate it.
Not
My
a
voice
problem,
is
sir.
absolutely shot. But I will catch up with you soon, bro. Till
Mhm.
next time, everybody, stay safe.